All right, we welcome Coach Drew to the stage, and we'll go ahead and remind you to raise your hand when you have a question. We'll get a microphone to you, and let's open it up to questions for Coach.
Coach, how is Jake Lindsay still able to impact this team despite all the rough injuries over the years, and especially now that his career is done?
Well, first of all, Jake loves Baylor, and he's well respected, obviously, with all the team. And once he knew he couldn't play, he wanted to do whatever he could to help the team. And he's a great voice of reason, and does a great job helping the young guys out as far as what he sees. And the great thing is Jake is very intelligent. He can be a coach, he could be a GM, he can run his own financial company. So we're just glad that he loves Baylor and wants to help.
Scott, I know that Makai is the first grad transfer in program history. I wondered, did you have opportunities with other guys and feel like it wasn't a good fit? And, what made you want to have him there besides the fact you knew he could score?
Well, we have recruited other grad transfers, and he's just the first that it's worked out with, and couldn't be more pleased and blessed to have someone like him. And part of our reason to getting him was a lot of times when people grad transfer, they want to know, do you really know my game? Do you know how good I am? And so it took us taking an L to be able to explain, yes, we know how good you are and what you can do. So the good thing is, as I told him, it was great. We were walking off the bus together, and I said, it's great going in with you today before the game rather than going against you. Because when we played Yale, he was the number one person we were concerned with coming in, and had a lot of respect for him even at that point.
Hey, Coach, with a tough win last night, is it difficult with a quick turnaround having to prepare for another team on maybe just a day of rest?
Well, I tell you, in this situation, I'm glad it was a quick turnaround, because the more film you watch at Gonzaga, the more worried you get. So there's a reason they're number one seed. And, our staff, like I said, we have Coach Jacobs was on their staff, and Rim, one of our GAs, played there. And but as a head coach, you don't watch a lot of other basketball games during the year. You're so busy watching your team and your opponents that you don't get a chance to watch a lot of other games. So watching them last night, you go from being in a great mood to, oh, crud.
John Warner, Waco Tribune Herald. Scott, they obviously have so many offensive weapons. How tough are those guys to deal with?
Well, it's the number one offense in the country for a reason. If they just had one guy, they wouldn't be the number one offense. And I think besides their multiple weapons, besides Coach Few being a tremendous coach, and they got a great basketball history and culture, I think they all have experience, a lot of international experience, a lot of older guys, and that really makes things easier, especially come March.
Hi, Coach. Jody Genesee, Does Red News. Speaking of Jake Lindsay, his father obviously was a Baylor alum. How much is Dennis involved in the program? And also, you have a couple of Baylor alums on the Jazz that unfortunately they're out of town. And did you interact with Epé or Royce?
Well, first of all, that's the best thing about being a coach, is being able to have a relationship with your players after they graduate as well. And unfortunately, I asked Dennis, could we dress Royce and Epé just for 2 games? And he said no, the Jazz needed them. But we talked to them all the time, and probably I think any parent can attest to this. When you hear people talking highly of your kids, you really feel good. And just from different people around town that we met, come across, boy, Epé or Royce, they're great people, and they're just great role models. But when you hear that, it makes you even more appreciative to have the opportunity to coach them and have them represent your program. As far as Dennis, Dennis is a Baylor guy, and that's why we're blessed to have Jake. He bleeds green and gold, and he's about the right things and about the same things we are. So appreciate him. I think he's entertaining a lot of his former teammates, so he might be worn out after this weekend.
Zach Brazil, New York Post. What is Makai meant to this team this year?
Well, he's meant with only 3 returning lettermen, so many first-year guys. It's a calming influence, someone that he doesn't get rattled by his demeanor and the way he plays with such poise and confidence. He's like a security blanket for everybody out there. And then, obviously, you have his talent and That is, people have to pay attention to him, and he stretches the defense, and that allows other people to have opportunities to drive and make plays.
Scott, I know you scrimmaged these guys, I guess, a year or two ago. How much does that inform what they do for you, and how much did that help you guys get ready playing that Gonzaga team in particular that went to the national championship game?
Well, we scrimmaged them a couple times, played them a couple times, so all that stuff helps. We don't have a lot of guys that were a part of that, and they don't have a lot of guys that were a part of that. So coaches always adjust what they do to their personnel, so probably can't help as much as if we had a bunch of returning players and we're running a lot of similar stuff, and same with them.
Scott, I know it's a bit of a bittersweet day for your family with Bryce. Have you spoken to him? And you know how this business works. I mean, how do you help him get through this?
Well, I think you go to bed and you finally, after watching film and answered the congratulations text and told how much you appreciate that, I woke up, and when I woke up, there was more text this morning than last night, and I was like, what's going on? And obviously, I think everybody can relate. When things happen to you, it's one thing. When it happens to your loved ones, your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, it probably affects you more than them. At the same time, he's blessed to have great friends, great family support, and he's got a great faith, and he knows God has a different plan for him. And as a big brother, obviously, whatever I can do to help him, I'm going to do. But the fact that he knows God's got a plan for him, he's a lot more powerful and has a lot more wisdom than I do.
Their star is Rui Hachimura. What does he bring to the table for them?
Someone said, "Can you describe him, his game to someone?" I said, "Yeah, it's a lot of guys that I see playing in the NBA." So with his size, his power, his skill set, he's a real tough matchup. And that's why one thing as a coach, too, you love how he's progressed. We've had several of our players, like Jonathan Motley, ended up being power forward of the year, who didn't play much as a freshman. Same thing with him. He put in his time, listened to the staff, got better, and now he's a great player. He scores inside, outside, can drive it, can shoot it. So obviously a tough matchup.
So everyone knows what Rui brings, and he's kind of the star of the show. But when you watch film, who stands out to you as maybe their X factor that's maybe underappreciated? Well,
that's one thing is I think all of them have had a chance to get enough attention, and maybe it's because I've heard so much from our coaches about each one of their players. I don't think there is anybody that I'm not aware of. So I'm not going to limit it to one guy. I think, again, their strength of their team is they have multiple guys that can step up and make plays. I think with our team, that's why we've been successful, is as a coach, you go into a game and you know you got 9 guys you're playing, and any different one of them can step up and have a big game and have at different times.